Hi everyone, my name is Jason Koo. I wanted to quickly walk you through a prototype mock graph data generator app that I've been working on. All right, let's just jump right in here and show you what I got here. Okay, so what I've done is I've built a Streamlit app to prototype this. And the way Streamlit works best is it basically runs from top down through your Python code. Now this makes prototyping very quick, but there are some limitations on what you can do with the UI. So when I started off building this, I just built basically a single page, and then I just started creating tabs to kind of break it up. But for the UI to react or to respond the best, basically the sort of checks and the status indicators that you want have to occur in the UI after you've made a change. So that's kind of dictated the way this looks. But anyway, so the first thing we have is this config tab, which allows you to change the paths or folders where this app is going to pull import data and export data to. Now, if you're just running this locally, and generally you're not going to need to change these defaults, but they are here and they need to be here at the first tab so that the configuration options are definitively available for the rest of the app. Okay, so if you're just spinning this up, you can basically skip this tab. Now here in the design tab, this is an iframe of the Arrows app, which is a great application for quickly modeling data for a graph database. And the graph database that we're doing this for is for Neo4j, which is ultimately the database we're going to upload data to. So, but this Arrows app allows you to data model basically anything. It's not directly tied to Neo4j or any graph database. Okay, so here I'm just going to quickly model something up. The holidays are coming up, so we could maybe we're working on a white elephant gift app of some sort. So here we've got a person who is, I guess let's have them, they purchase a gift, and this gift is going to be given to another person, right? But we only need to notate one person node because that's basically a class of data, right? And for distinguishing people, let's go ahead and let's do a first name, and we'll make it of a type string. A last name, we'll just make it simple. We'll just get email and string. Okay, so in Arrows, you can create anything for properties here in the key or the value. But for my mock generation app, I've created kind of a convenience system where if you label, like if you use the key as the label of the property and then the type for the property, then the app will sort of autofill some data for you. And the available data types that the data importer, which is the application, the tool that we're ultimately going to upload this into, can take a number of data types. Strings are one of them, booleans, floats, integers, and datetime objects. Okay, so we'll just make this simple. We just got first name and email, and gift. We'll just give this a name. And oops, I'll make it a string, not a strong. And we could optionally add in like dates for this. Actually, let's see how this turns out. So the date of the purchase, right? Date, time, and then when it was given, also we add the same thing. Okay. All right. So once you've got, now this is a super simple data model, right? But this we'll get the idea across. Okay. So once we're done with the data model, we can download it. And then, oh, I guess I should have cleaned up my downloads folder. Now we go to the import tab here, and we can select one of these two JSON files that I've kind of put into the repo and kind of made available. But what we're going to do here is we're going to upload this new one, and I believe it was demo 4. Okay, so here we've got 2 nodes and 2 relationships, which should map with our Arrows app here, right? 2 nodes, 2 relationships. Very, very simple. Okay, well, now that it's imported, we can go to the mapping tab, And in the mapping tab, we've got a couple options here. So we've got global properties that we could add to every single node and every single relationship. And here I'll just put like UUID because that's usually a good thing to add. And we'll just make this shorter. Okay, so what's happening behind the scenes here is we've got this field that allows you to add a property name, a string value here, and then you can select the generator type. Now, the generators are simple Python functions that will go and create the mock property data for us here. And here I'm basically telling the mapping that I want to use a string type generator that is generating UUIDs. So each one of these generators will create mock data in the vein of the names listed here, right? So we could we could do a mock URL. In this case, I'm choosing UUID. We can make lorem ipsum words. I've got name generators and other random stuff. A lot of these are from the Python Faker library at the moment, and hopefully, as time becomes available, I'll be adding more custom more custom generators here. Okay. Anyways, so here we can see that this UUID generator takes one extra argument, which allows you to limit the character length, and it will automatically create a sample of the property data that you may want to include. And what you could do is you could add in quite a few different properties, and then if you decide like, oh, I don't really need this, you can just exclude it, and it won't show up in the mappings, which I will show in a minute here later. Okay, so moving on here, we've got 2 nodes, 2 relationships. We could add more here, but I'll just use the data that came in from the Arrows app. So the first thing here is we're going to click on person. And now Neo4j allows you to have multiple labels for a given node. I'm just going to stick to one to keep things simple here. Next sub tab here for person is properties. So you can see here, the first name and email came in automatically, and the app has a very simple recommendation engine to try to determine which best generator that you're intending to use based on the name. So here it automatically determined that I do want to use a first name generator and an email generator here. So that's great. Now I can showcase here, like if we add in a new property like we did with globals, and if I had put in some other property name that it wasn't able to guess, it would just randomly basically assign you a random generator. But actually we'll scrap this and we'll show the date time in the relationships. Okay, so one thing you do need to do is assign a key property for each node. This is required by the data import tool to correctly map CSV data. So this is this should be a unique identifier for a given node, right? So this is why like adding in a global UUID is handy. As you can see here, I didn't, now that I think about it, I should have had this duplicate to here so that, oh, okay. I guess I did and didn't remember. So behind the scenes, the global is added to this node's property list, so you can select it as a key for a node. Okay, so we'll do UUID. Email would have worked here as well. Okay, gift, name. We will just, we added extra property here we didn't need. Okay, so a good name for a gift. All right, so I don't really have something that works really well here, right? So I'll just choose lorem ipsum words between 1 and 3 words. So it'll be just kind of gibberish for the gift name. And key property, we'll make that the UUID as well. Oh, one extra thing is, oh yes, the count. So how many of these nodes do we want the mock generator to create? So here we'll just we'll keep it simple. We'll just make 10 folks so that we can see it in the end graph later. Oh, that was gifts. That's fine. We'll do 10 people, 10 gifts. How about that? Keeps it simple. Okay, now relationships are very similar to creating nodes. You can see here we got a bit of a cipher here, which shows the what 2 nodes the relationships are connecting. This first relationship, we've got a person purchases a gift, right? And we've got date, it's got date time, and it chooses a date between, I think, 0 epoch and then today's date. And you can, of course, change this date, and this will affect this. So let's keep this within this year here, and we'll say it was purchased anytime this year. Okay. All right. And the second relationship we have here is, when was the gift given to another person? Now this one, I'll change the date to, let's have it all on the same day, just so that, let's say it was at like a company party, for example. Okay. Now, count. Okay, let's go back up to purchases gift. Okay, so here we have 2 additional tabs here. We've got the count, which is similar to the nodes count, except what this is going to do is, well, I guess it is exactly the same. So this is the number of relationships that should be generated per person, right? So for each person, and I think we've got 10 people, we want them to purchase how many gifts? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We'll keep it simple. So each person buys just 1 gift. And then the same, right? 1 gift is given to exactly 1 person. So nobody's sharing gifts here. All right, so counts are 1 for each. And again, you can select different int generators here. So you could do it from a range of numbers. So say you want some randomization to your mock generation, then you could go like, okay, let's say each person buys, between 1 and, 3 gifts, or, you want to go from a list. So I only want people to buy 1, 3, or, 5 gifts. So that option is available. Okay, we'll just go back to 1 each. And there's an extra tab here called 2 conditions. So this is for kind of determining the way that the mock generator is going to map the relationship between the person and a given set of given set of gift lists. So here I've only got 2 options so far, but I'll be adding more. So there's pure random, which means given the generated list of mock gifts, it's going to randomly assign a person to a gift. Now, this could result in duplicates, and this could result in orphaned gift nodes. So what I'm going to do instead is do exhaustive random, which will pick a gift randomly, but then remove it from the list so that when the next relationship is generated for the next person, they will be assigned a random gift from the remaining list. All right, and I want to do the same thing with gifts given to a person. Right, we also want this to be an exhaustive random list. Okay, so you can see here the app will do some really basic validity check, and will tell you that this node has been added to the map and is good to go. All right, once that's done, we can jump over to the Generate tab. So I'll come back to search generators and add new generators in a moment here. But first we go to Generate app, and we can see I've hit an edge case that I did not account for here. So what happened here? Properties, PID names, self-generator name. All right, so I've got a generator with no name. Huh. All right, we can do a little debugging here. Property mapping. Okay, this probably happened. Okay, I'm gonna jump over to code here, and we can see what a terrible mess I've got here. All right, that is not what I wanted. Here we go. Okay, so let's just jump right to the offending object here. Property self PSL. Okay, so why is self generator name? Okay, so the generator for this property. Oh, right. Okay, so this occurred because I had created that extra global property and not given it a name. So there's actually no generator assigned. And this is just in really for my debugging. So we'll do if self generator generator is not none. Oh, else I guess we could just do not assigned. Generator ID, if self generator is not none, else no generator assigned. Oh. Yeah, I'll just leave that for now. No generator assigned. Okay, that could have been better. Okay, let's see. Else. Okay, what did I do wrong here? Self-generated. Maybe if I just look at the undetermined expression abstract, missing closed brace. Am I missing closed brace? Self-generated, if generated, else, none else. Okay. I'm staring at it and I'm missing what I need to do. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to block this off for now. And I will fix this later after I've had some coffee. Okay, so I'm going to save, and this should restart Streamlit. Okay, so here you can see my validator told me that I'm not ready for generation. Type 2 string. What else did I miss? This will teach me to refactor right before doing a video. Type 2 string. Okay, right. If I'm doing the same thing, then I'm probably, if there's none else, none. If so. Yes, I will clean this up better later when I'm not recording myself. Ah, okay, there we go. All right, so back to our show here. Okay. All right, so mapping should be fine. Mapping option not valid for generation. Please configure above. Okay. You know what I'm going to do is I will fix this check later, and I'll just get rid of this property. Ooh. Okay, so which node or relationship is not ready? It looks like everything's ready. All right, let me look at the raw mapping data here. So the mapping file that is being created behind the scenes is basically taking the import file and your mapping data and creating an intermediary JSON file that the app will use to generate the fake data with, and then construct the JSON spec file that the data importer is expecting, including generating all the CSV files. So one of the things that always breaks this app is if I leave a Python object inside the mapping data, because basically the underlying code that I have is looking for straight JSON data to use as its configuration. Okay, so obviously I need to work better on my validation code here. But again, this is a prototype that I am continuously iterating on. But I wanted to get this out sooner than later, mostly at the pressing of a coworker of mine, Michael Hunger, fantastic developer advocate, who rightly said that the sooner something like this is available, the sooner people can make use of this if they have their own use cases. And while I'm scanning this, my impetus for creating this mock graph data generator app was I was having a lot of conversations about using graph databases for just general purpose apps, mobile apps, since I come from a mobile development background. Now, talking about graph databases conceptually is fine. Everyone, developers get it quite quickly, but there's always this gulf of experience, or this chasm of experience between conceptually understanding the benefits of using a graph database in a general purpose mobile app or any application, and actually playing with the data or using the data in an app, right? And the biggest hurdle, I would say, is getting your actual data into a graph database so you can start seeing how it works. Now, what can be done is to create mock data to fill in your data model so that you can immediately start playing with the graph database, in this case Neo4j, immediately begin querying it using Cypher and getting a feel for what that data looks like and what you can do with it. So that's what led to me creating this mock generator, which I'm hoping to tie in together with the GraphQL toolkit that has been made available, which will automatically create more or less automatically, you have to create the spec schema, will automatically create the GraphQL, a GraphQL endpoint for you that will talk to a Neo4j instance. So you can go from creating your data model however you want, create some mock data, put it in, use a GraphQL endpoint and pull it out and connect it to an application. And in my case, I plan on building some Flutter apps and maybe trying out some other cross-platform development systems. So, okay, anyways, so going back to the demo here where I've hit some sort of roadblock. So my feeling is my validation system is very simple and kind of brittle. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on the generate data and see what happens. And it unfortunately does not work, and it doesn't, and it fails. Let me jump back to my code here so everyone can laugh at this collectively. Okay, so it looks like it hit several issues. String has no ISO format. Oh, okay. So this is going to be with the datetime thing. Yes, datetime is unfortunately one of my arch nemesis in developing this mock generator. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take out the dates for now, just so we can show you this app mostly working. And okay, yeah, so it was the datetime objects. Okay, so that's the third thing on my list of things to fix. So I'll get that fixed. So don't rely on adding date times for the time being, unless you want to convert it to a string. All right, so generate. So mapping options valid for generation. And I'll click for data importer. So we can see here the app has created the 10 people nodes that we wanted, the 10 GIFs, and the relationships between everyone that we expected. Okay, so we can go to the export tab, which is where you could review the CSV data that was generated by the application. You can even download these individually if you want to manually put it into the data importer or, put it into another tool. And here we've got a listing of all the zip files that are created from these generated files. Okay, should be demo 3, right? I thought that was the name of... Oh, wait, yeah, no, it'll be demo 4 because of the way Mac well, no, it should be demo 3, shouldn't it be? 12, 17, no, okay. All right, so demo 4, note to self, clean up your working folders before a demo. Okay, we're going to download this file, which I believe is the most recent file, at least the datetime is. Okay, so we got two options here. We can jump to Neo4j's console where you could, let me actually show you what I'm doing here. All right, so we'll probably have to do some editing magic so this isn't so clunky. But back to the generator tab. So mapping here. Okay, so I was talking but didn't show you that by removing the date time properties, the mapping status went to green because I have some sort of date time issue that I have not resolved. Okay, so here, I'll just show you the error. So I add a date time. We can see the mapping status breaks. So I guess my validation checks are working as expected. So if we just remove the date property, we're good, we're green and good to go. So we will generate this data. And so every time you run this, it will run all the mock generator functions. So I can show that by going to the export tab and again looking at the actual data generated here, right? So you just take a quick look here at the names. We got like April, Alexander, Brianna, and if I run generate again, it should give me a different set of folks. Yes, so no Brianna. We got now Jonathan, Diana, Sherry. So if you don't like the particular mock data that was generated in one run, you just click generate as many times as you would like, and you'll get a new set of mock data. Okay, you will of course flood your exports folder with a lot of very similar files here. Okay, so taking the topmost file, which should be the most recent, I will download that file, and what I'm going to do is go to the data importer tab. Now this tab just has an iframe to the data importer tool directly, And when you first start this, it will ask you for your Neo4j credentials, like the URI, the username, password, etc. So just put that in, and then this will link. Okay, so what we'll do is click on the triple dots disclosure, kebab menu, and select the second option, the open model with data. Now, this import is expecting a zip file of the CSV files and the data import JSON file that was generated by the app, or exports from the data importer itself. So I'm going to find the most recent, or at least attempt to find the most recent. And I believe it is this file. Yes. Okay, so I'm going to open that, and what will happen? Oh, okay, so it's hard to see here. Can I open up full page? Okay, so if so all the CSV files that were generated will be added to the import section here. And if I open it up, you can see that we have the same data model that was originally created in the design tab with the Arrows app. Yep. Okay. All right, and then I can click Run Import, and oh, okay, so here, I believe I have this still here. Nope. So what I need to do is find my credentials real quick. Oh, right, I guess I did paste. A little slow there. And I need the URI. I need all the URI. Put it in here. This should auto detect that I'm not using Bolt. Okay. All right. So Neo4j is the default user, which is what I'm using for my test instance here. All right. So once you've got the connection info in, just connect. And once you're connected, then you import the data, and this should be all green. If not, then what has likely happened is either I've made a change to the export file, which is now not compatible, or the data import schema has been updated, in which case you could just let me know, or I will probably catch in short order and then update the export JSON file to match. Okay, so we can just close this. And if we jump into a more instance here, so I've got, okay, same database. So what we want is, need the password again. Okay, so if you go to your Aura console here, you can select your instance here, and you can click Query, which will take you to this. And if you're logged in, and not logged out like myself, but if you are logged out, you can just put your password and log back in. And what we can do here is, I'm just going to use a bit of Cypher here to just display everything in this database, since we have so little data in it. We can manually kind of go through it. Okay, there it goes. Okay, so we can see here, this is, let me zoom in here, let me make this bigger. That was only marginally bigger. Okay, we can see here that we got little clusters of folks here. So we got Nicholas purchased a Veil gift, which was given to Adam. Oh, and it was circular, so that was interesting. And we can see here we've got a larger cluster where we've got kind of a chain of folks here where one person purchased a gift, which is given to another person who actually gave a gift to another. And it ended up completing a closed graph here. Okay, so that is it. This is my prototype mock graph data generator. As we've clearly seen, there's a few updates that I need to do, and there's a lot of additional features and additional generators I would like to add to this. Ultimately, at some point, I'm going to have to make this a proper app and move it off of this local Streamlit instance. I might stick with Streamlit as a UI because it's super fast to iterate on. But at some point, I would like to move the actual data generation to a proper backend that just takes the mapping data so that the whole entire app is not coupled together, and then might be more useful and be able to handle bigger data sets. At this time, I am not sure how big of a graph you can generate with this. There are two possible limitations, other than running this locally within your machine. But two, the backend is not optimized, and the generated data is held in the Streamlit session data. So there's going to be theoretically some cap on that session size, session state size, that can be put in. So, anyways, there it is. I will make my repo public today, and if you want to play with it, give it a go. Post any issues there or send me a message. I'm all ears, and if you'd like to help, I would also love help on this as well too. Otherwise, have a great day, great holiday.